My name is Alex, bro.
Hey, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
No, I just want to ask Matt a question, man, about the real estate, if he doesn't mind answering. The question is like, what does he think the next bubble is going to burst? Is the market going to fall, or is it going to keep on going up with the mortgages right now? Because everything is selling like crazy. Everybody is buying like crazy. The rates are down. How long does he think this is going to last, or what does he predict for the future? Is it going to be crashing like in 2008, or is it going to be going down slowly, or what's his take on it?
Oh, I think it's going to crash. I think it's going to be 2008 all over again. I figure they could probably keep it propped up for another 12 months to 18 months maybe. But I mean, how long can you just keep pumping money into a system until it eventually, crashes?
So do you think it's going to be like 2008, or is it going to be worse, especially with this $2 trillion bill that they passed with the inflation coming up? Do you think it's going to be worse than 2008? Or is it going to be something like 2008?
I honestly, it's just a gut feeling. Like, I don't have the numbers. I wouldn't even know how to begin to calculate those numbers. But I'd say within the realm of the 2008 financial crisis, I'd say it's about probably in that same realm. I mean, the bottom line is the government will bail it out, and then it'll take. The problem is this time it's not like they have anybody to blame. You know what I'm saying? Like, this time it's like, who do you blame for this? You can't blame Wall Street.
So they're basically going to blame this pandemic, right? Basically, because of the pandemic, everything is going to be, everybody's going to get paid bills out.
Yeah, but the difference is that you have to think about the TARP package. When the TARP package was passed, they went and they said, we're going to give the banks the money, we're going to take stock in exchange. Well, keep in mind, about 90 to 95% of the TARP funds have been paid back. Who's going to pay back the money if the entire economy crashes? They can't go to the banks. It's not the bank's fault. So it's just going to have to be inflation. And inflation technically is you're just redistributing that loss among people. So that means that basically a loaf of bread doesn't cost $5, it's costing $15 and $20. So people are hungry, people aren't buying real estate, there's a crash, people are being laid off, they don't work, government has to come in. So I mean, it could be the 2008, it could be worse. I don't know. I'm not that guy. I'm not an actuary. I can't crunch the numbers. I'm not that smart. But I think ultimately it does happen. I think to me, I even did a video on my channel about this. Like, to me, what I would do, because guys ask me all the time, what would you do with real estate? If you wanted to invest in real estate, what would you do? What would you do? Okay, well, what I do is, because you don't know if it's going to happen in the next 6 months or if it's going to happen in the next year, what I would do is I'd buy as many single families as I could, and I'd turn them into rooming houses. I'd take the living room, dining room, and I turn it into bedrooms. So I take a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and turn it into a 5-bedroom. Because the one thing that's going to happen is people are going to need cheap housing. You can put bunk beds in them. Listen, when people get hungry, things that they're saying right now, oh, I'd never live in a rooming house. Really? Well, when you're living on the street, you won't mind bunking up with another guy in a room as opposed to having to sleep on the curb. So the fact is that that's something you can buy right now. And it doesn't matter if you're buying at the top of the market because you're only buying them for cash flow. So it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if you're up $100,000 upside down. If your cash flow is a couple $1,000s a month, what do I care if I'm upside down? I could be upside down $12 million if my cash flow at the end of the month, if my positive is 20 grand a month, what do I care if I'm in debt or upside down 12 million? As long as I can maintain it and walk away with 10 or 20 grand a month, that's what I do. So I would be buying everything, every shithole single family I could buy right now. I'd buy it, turn the living room, dining room into a bedroom, and I'd rent them out as rooming houses. Obviously, there's certain areas you can't do it. You can't do it in a PUD. You can't do it in a deed-restricted community. I mean, you have to look into it a little bit. But it doesn't matter. You can buy houses that nobody wants to live in right now because guess what? People that need to live somewhere will rent a room. People are renting rooms right now for $150 a month. So sorry, $150 a week.
God damn.
They're renting rooms right now for $150 a week easily. You can put an ad on Craigslist right now for a room for rent at $150, and within an hour you'll get 15 to 20 calls. God. Guys desperate to rent the room. Because the truth is, look, if you're a 40-year-old man and you're divorced with 2 kids, you have to pay your child support. There are all these things you cannot cut. I can't cut food. I have to eat. I can't cut making my car payment or making my insurance or my health insurance or paying my child support. What can I cut? My living expenses. That's the only thing I can cut. So guess what? I want to see my kids. I want to pay my child support. I want to be able to have health care. I want to be able to have my car so I can go see my kids. I want to do all these things that I can't cut. So I'm willing to shack up in a room. I'm willing to shack up in a bunk. If you said, hey, I got a bunk bed you can rent in a room with 3 other guys, it's going to cost you $100 a week. You'd be shocked how many guys will say, I'll take it, and be thankful. They'll be thankful to pay $100 a week because they don't have a choice. What's that going to be like in a year and a half from now? People will be desperate to get into those rooms. So that's the only thing that's a for sure thing right now. But there's no way, you cannot continually pump money into an economy and expect that you're not going to have inflation and a crash. And there's all these economists out there they'll all say it's coming, and then there are other economists that are saying, oh no, it'll be fine. Well, what the hell do you guys know anyway? Everybody said everything was, peaches and cream in 2007. In 2008, it was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Why didn't we see this coming? People never want to see what's right in front of them. They don't want to see what's bad. They always look on the bright side of.
And hey, Matt, one more question. What do you think? What about deflation? Do you think we're experiencing right now a deflation, and the reason they're pumping money into it is to prevent the deflation? There's too much stuff out there, so they need the purchasing power.
Deflation or inflation?
No, deflation.
I don't know anything about. I don't see any deflation that's happening right this minute. What do you mean? What are you basing that on? I don't know.
What is deflation?
No,
it's when things are undervalued.
Basically, deflation is when you don't have the purchasing power. You have too much stuff stored in warehouses, and people don't have money to buy it. So that way, people go out of business because they don't sell their product. So that's basically the deflation, right?
Okay.
You have the product, but nobody has the money to buy it. So then everybody's going out of business, no matter how cheap they try to sell it. Nobody's going to have the power to buy it because there's no money into the economy.
You feel like that's what's happening right now?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. Do you think maybe that's the scenario of the reason they're pumping so much money into it or whatever? Or I don't know.
I have no idea. I mean, I think they're pumping money into the economy just because they're trying to keep everybody going right now, and everybody's bills being paid and people, eating. I mean, I think that's what they're.
My question is, where does all these trillions come from?
I mean, obviously, it's just the money is not.
Obviously, I heard. You know what I heard the other day? I heard more money has been printed in the last 4 years than in the entire history of the United States.
I don't know.
But isn't that the causes the houses are going up because the money are devaluating, so you got to pay more money for the same thing? You think the house is going up in value, but what's happening is the value of the dollar is going down, so you got to put up with more dollars to buy the same thing. You think, oh my God, my house is $500,000. I bought it with $300,000, but the inflation is so bad that you actually have to put up more money to buy the same thing. Isn't that the same concept over here?
Well, I think that there's a lack of inventory on the market right now as far as houses are concerned, because the banks are they're still lending money, and people are putting money into houses right now because they don't know what the future holds. But here's the nice thing about buying a house. If you buy a house for $200,000, even if you're paying at top market, okay, even if you're paying $40,000 more than the house was worth a year ago, the fact is you're buying a house with a fixed mortgage payment. So your payment's $1,500 a month. So if there's inflation, and let's say even if it doesn't matter if there's a crash, and it doesn't matter if the prices keep going up, you've got a fixed rate. So you have a fixed payment from here on out. So people dump money into homes right now because they just don't know what the dollar is going to be worth in the future. But at least they'll have a home over their head with a fixed payment. So if the prices go up, they're good. If they go down, they're still good. Because if you were to take $100,000, $100,000 might not be worth $100,000 in 2 years from now or a year from now. But your house payment will remain the same. I don't know if that makes sense. I probably didn't explain that very well, but